My name is Professor Sonal Gogri. I am from Faculty of Business Administration, GLS BBA, GLS University. Moving ahead with service marketing. In the previous session, we talked about the strategic service concept. In this particular session, we shall be talking about understanding the competitive environment of services. Now, competitive environment means you need to understand that you are in which industry and who are your competitors, who are your suppliers, who are the buyers, who are the substitutes, new entrants. Basically, you need to know कि इस industry में am I or is my organization will be able to survive or not, will be able to scale its business to higher profits or not. So it is important to understand the overall environment of service industry. In general, service firms compete in a very difficult economic environment, and there are many reasons for this difficulty. Starting with the first difficulty, relatively low overall entry barriers. Now, in services, the overall entry barriers are low. What do you mean by entry barriers? कि कोई भी competitor तुरंत ही आपका business idea copy करके नया business तुरंत ही ला सकता है. It doesn't take too much of time to copy the business idea, to copy the service innovations. So service innovations are not patentable, and in most cases, services are not capital intensive. Thus, innovations can be easily copied by the competitors. If you look at a manufacturing industry, right, can you simply copy the business of Coca-Cola? It's going to be difficult. Understand, it's not the drink that you're supposed to copy, it's the overall business idea that you can copy. Do you have that manufacturing capacity at large level? Do you have those machines? Capital intensive factories or manufacturing units are required to copy a business idea. So the entry barriers in manufacturing is little high, but when it comes to services, the entry barriers are comparatively low. You can take the example of, let's say, TikTok. It is one of the, it was one of the very successful applications. Since India banned TikTok, it didn't take even, longer time, and within 2 to 3 months, its competitors just took over the market with Mitro, Roposo, Chingari, and now Instagram Reels. All these things didn't take much time to copy the business idea. Similarly, you can see Zomato and Swiggy. Zomato came with some unique business idea of food delivery. Soon, Food Panda, Swiggy, Uber Eats. Today, you can see that the entire, industry is too much competitive by nature. However, it is not that in every service industry, the entry barriers are low. In few cases, the entry barriers could be high. For example, but the organization need to create that entry barriers high. Let's take here the example of hotel resorts. A hotel could have a unique location, a very special location, a special, let's say, a beach island or a beach resort. For example, Club Med location on the island of Muria in French Polynesia. It's for its unique location. It's very difficult for any organization to hire those kind of properties and create a hotel room, right? Or create a huge resort like this. So yes, one can create high entry barriers on the basis of location. Second is minimal opportunities for economies of scale. Now, economies of scale, opportunity in manufacturing is high. The more you produce, the better you have the chance to expand your market, right? But in case of services, it is very difficult because you need people. So if I am delivering a service, you cannot be present everywhere, right? So that necessity of physical travel for many services limits the market area and results in small scale outlets. Franchise firms can realize some economies of scale by sharing purchasing or advertising cost. In other instances, using the internet can be a substitute for physical travel. For example, Amazon.com has scaled its business at a very high scale, but still manufacturing the product has the capacity to reach to a very mass audience. Services have still very less capacity. Exceptional could be, Amazon, could be McDonald's, right? But in majority of the services like salon services, babysitting services, medical services, these services, there are very few opportunities for large economies of scale. Third, erratic sales fluctuations. In case of product, you can predict the demand and accordingly you can keep the products ready in the inventory. You can stock the products. In case of services, you cannot stock the services, right? They are perishable in nature, they are intangible, there is no ownership, right? And therefore, it is very difficult when the demand is very high to meet the demand or when the demand is very low to match the capacity. So, service demand varies as a function of the time of the day and the day of the week and sometimes seasonally with random arrivals. For example, AC repair service, there is no season for repairing. जब AC खराब हुआ, the demand will be high. Of course, in the months of summers, the demand for AC services are high. But what about plumbing? Does it have any season that यही time पे आपको plumber की सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत पड़ेगी? No. What about babysitting? What about dog services, dog care services? Right? What about medical services? The fluctuation is very high. However, there are some organizations which have managed to, predict the demand and manage the fluctuation. For example, multiplex cinemas. It's one such exception. Hotels, right? What do? During the festivals, during the weekends, during holidays, the prices will be high, right? And in the slack season, the prices will be low. This helps them to manage their demand with the capacity. Next is no advantage of size in dealing with buyers and suppliers. In case of manufacturing, you buy machineries in bulk, you buy resources in bulk, so there is huge size and therefore you can negotiate. You can get huge discounts. But in case of services, the small size of many service firms places them at a disadvantage in bargaining with powerful buyers or suppliers. For example, hairstylist buying scissors and other tools won't be in so much of bulk also, right? Or IT professionals buying laptops wouldn't be in too much of bulk, or even if it is in bulk, it won't be a frequent purchase. There are many exceptions that would come in mind. For example, McDonald's buying their resources or Marriott hotels buying their mattresses on a regular period of time. These are few exceptions, but in case of most of the services, there is no advantage of size in dealing with buyers and suppliers. Fifth is product substitution. One of the major scare for services is the substitution by products. For example, you need a medical service, a nurse or a doctor to help you test your blood pressure, to test your diabetes or cholesterol. But today you can measure blood pressure at your home, right? The machine costs around 1000 or 1500 rupees. You can buy that machine and regularly you can daily measure your blood pressure. Now you do not need the help of a doctor and you don't need to give them daily 100 or 200 rupees just to measure your blood pressure, right? And so with the diabetes, so with the home pregnancy test kits. So what are we doing? These innovated products have substituted the services. Product innovations can be a substitute for services. Example, the home pregnancy test kit. Thus, service firms must not only watch other service competitors, but also anticipate potential product innovations that might make their services obsolete. Customer loyalty. In case of products, since you own the product, the loyalty is little high because of ownership, because of tangible aspects. In case of services, it is little difficult, right? Established firms using personalized service create a loyal customer base, which becomes a barrier to entry by new services. For example, a hospital. If you go to a particular hospital, you would always want to meet the same doctor over and again, right? Customers are so loyal to a particular service provider that it is very difficult for them. It is very difficult for any new business or a new entrant to create their own market. A hospital supply firm may place its own ordering computer terminals at customers' sites. These terminals then facilitate the placement of the new orders to the extent that competitors are effectively excluded. Exit barriers. Marginal service firms may continue to operate despite low or even non-existent profit. For example, a privately held firm may have employment of family members rather than maximizing profit as its goal. Here you can see कि private firm का goal क्या है? Just to have some satisfaction, mental satisfaction कि all my family members are well employed. Profit is not the goal. In lot of services you will see NGO services, social services, the goal is not profit making. The goal is satisfaction. Services such as antique stores, scuba diving shops, hobby or romantic appeal that provides their owners with enough job satisfaction to offset low financial compensation. Thus, profit-motivated competitors would find it difficult to drive these privately held firms from the market. So, exit barriers are also high. It is not very easy for any competitor to just push some competitor out of the business, right? Now, we saw a lot of barriers, low entry barriers or economies of scale is not possible. Exit barriers are high, right? Demand or it's difficult to fluctuate. The sales are fluctuating, so the predicting the demand is difficult. काफी सारे हमने problems देखे. Service environment is very difficult. Since businesses, competitors can easily copy your services. However, there are some firms which have exceptionally done well. For example, McDonald's or Microsoft, right? These are service firms. How are they different? Let's see. For any particular service industry, there are firms that have overcome these competitive difficulties and have prospered. For example, McDonald's has achieved a dominant position in the fast food industry by overcoming many of the difficulties that we listed before. New entrants, however, must develop a service strategy that will address the important competitive features of their respective industries. In order to understand the competitive environment, we will be studying the 3 generic strategies also in the next lecture, wherein we will illustrate all these strategies कि कैसे environment affect होता है, right? So we've talked about these 7 strategies and you will see कि हर एक barrier में McDonald's have been able to flourish in a different form. First, relatively low overall entry barrier. हमने देखा था कि टिकटॉक को कैसे रोपोसो ने कॉपी कर लिया, इंस्टाग्राम रील ने कॉपी कर लिया. But can anyone simply copy McDonald's business? Right? Who's a global brand, present everywhere and able to give you a fresh quality burger, a very good quality burger at normal rates. So the overall entry barriers which McDonald's have created for its competitors is relatively high. If you look at minimal opportunities for economies of scale, clearly we can see McDonald's have expanded a lot and have scaled its business at a global level. So if you look at sales fluctuations or no advantage of size in dealing with buyers or suppliers, product substitution, customer loyalty, exit barriers, in most cases, McDonald's has achieved a dominant position in the fast food industry by overcoming many of the difficulties listed here. I hope these helped you in understanding the competitive environment of services. Let's take a small quiz. First, there are dash P's in services mix. There are 7 P's in services mix, right? It includes product, price, place, promotion, 4 plus people, processes and physical evidence. Second, medical diagnosis is an example of dash. Is it a pure service, pure goods or hybrid? So it is going to be pure service. Understand it is diagnosis, right? तो सिर्फ यहाँ पे diagnose हो रहे हो, just understanding what are the problems. And when a doctor gives you consultation, ये problem हुआ है, ये test करवाओ, right? That is medical diagnosis. It is pure service. यहाँ ना आपको medicines मिल रही है, ना कोई और facility मिल रही है. Third, in services sector, there is relatively dash overall entry barriers. So entry barriers are low, right? What do you mean by low entry barriers? I hope you remember the example of TikTok and Roposo and Zomato and Foodpanda, right? Anyone can quickly copy the business. In services, there is dash opportunities for economies of scale. Economies of scale means expanding the business. In services, the opportunities are minimum, right? I hope these points are clear. So in services, there is minimum opportunities for economies of scale. I hope this topic made some sense. So we have completed understanding the competitive environment of services. In the next lecture, we shall start with competitive service strategies, overall cost leadership, differentiation and focus. Thank you so much.